Hi, everybody. Today, I'm super excited to have Shannon from Kalamazoo College with me. We were just chit-chatting about our last visit was in person. I feel like I keep saying that about everybody, but we had an awesome visit last year, and I'm thrilled that you're back this year, Shannon, and even in a virtual format. So I'll let you take it away and share more about Kalamazoo with us.
Well, thank you so much for, yes, visiting virtually. I'm, sad that I can't be there in person, but again, very similar to what you said, very happy we could do this virtually. So yes, my name is Shannon Milan, and I'm one of the assistant directors here at Kalamazoo College. I'm also an alum of K, as well as I was born and raised in Kalamazoo. So throughout my presentation, I always warn people, I'm slightly biased of anything Kalamazoo. So you'll probably get that throughout my presentation. But again, so excited to be able to talk about K. So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about the history of the college, and then we'll jump into the K plan, which I love to talk about. I think it's something that really stands out for Kalamazoo College. And then we'll go into a little bit, life after K. And then after that, we'll switch gears and we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty of, deadlines and what we look at when we're looking at applications and financial aid. So the history of Kalamazoo College. So we are one of the 100 oldest colleges and universities in the country. We were founded in 1833. So we're old. Fun little fact, I don't know if it's on the slide, we keep updating our PowerPoint, but we did not start giving out degrees until 1855. So yes, the joke is, what were we doing for 30 years? My thought is, we were just perfecting it. We were like, we're gonna really try this out, before we start doing it. So if there are, I always tell students, if you're really into history, the archives in our library is amazing. So lots of history here at Kalamazoo College. So kind of what Kalamazoo College looks like today is we are 1,500 students. The average class size is 18. So for me, just kind of talking about from my personal experience, the small class sizes is something that really caught my attention when I was looking at schools. Specifically for me, I was just really, feeling like, how could I learn the best and what type of environment that would look like for me? And for me, it was small class sizes. So here at K, you're definitely not just a number. Everyone's gonna know your name. Your professor is going to take a real vested interest in not only how you're doing in class, but also just a real vested interest in how you're doing personally. Are you happy? Are you thriving? You're gonna build some really amazing relationships with the professors here at K. And I was just talking with a student yesterday, I think too, as I go through the presentation, I think you'll find the word community will come up a lot. And I think you can find that a lot, obviously, at other smaller institutions too. So if that's something that you're thinking in the back of your head that, is something important to you, that's, again, something I really valued here at K, was the sense of community and being able to have these lifelong relationships with professors, as well as staff and faculty. We have a 91% first year retention rate. So basically what that means is we have, the first year students come and they like us enough that they want to come back for at least year two. And my, kind of personal opinion on that is, I think some of the reason why our retention rate is so high is due to our first year experience that you'll have here at K. There are many programs designed and built in for that first year experience. We know what a big transition it is to go from high school to college. So there's a lot of support and guidance along the way for that first year for you as a freshman. And our graduation rate is 72%. Again, my personal opinion, I think the reason why we have such a high four-year graduation rate is due to the K plan. And everything here at K is built into a four-year program. We kind of jokingly say we love you for 4 years, and after 4 years, you need to graduate. I think the national average is, I think, 6.8, close to there. So again, all the amazing opportunities and things that you'll be able to do here at K is built in to a four-year program. And we are Division III, so we have 18 teams, 9 men and 9 women. So that's just a little snapshot of what kind of Kalamazoo College looks like today. All right, so where are we though? So we are in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So we're smack dab in the middle of Chicago and Detroit. So So 2.5 hours to Chicago and 2.5 hours to Detroit, which is really cool. And the other really cool thing, you know, if you take away anything from the presentation, like the two highlights or the two things that I think really stand out for K is one, our location, and two, the K plan. So Kalamazoo County has about a little close to about 300,000 people. And of those 300,000 people, about 30 to 40 actually are college students, 30,000 to 40,000. We jokingly say we share the backyard to Western Michigan University. So they have 30,000 students, we have 1,500. But it means Kalamazoo is a really vibrant college town. I also kind of say you get the best of both worlds. You get to be in a small private liberal arts college and, you know, reap all the benefits of that, but yet you're right next door to a big university too, so you can have that experience, which is really cool. As well as if you're kind of looking at other smaller liberal arts colleges, you'll start to maybe find that they are a little bit more in the rural area, which again is nothing wrong with that, might be a good fit for you. But if you're thinking like, okay, I don't know if I might want to be in a little bit of a bigger city. Again, that's kind of what makes Kalamazoo College so unique, is that we sit in the city of Kalamazoo. So there are tons of things for you to do for fun. There's the downtown area is just a 10-15 minute walk from our campus. So lots of locally owned restaurants and coffee shops, as well as cultural events that you can do while you're here at campus. But also, just as importantly, we also have a strong connection with a lot of businesses, obviously, in the downtown area. So lots of opportunities for internships, externships. We have 2 tier 1 trauma hospitals here in downtown Kalamazoo. So again, if you're interested in the medical field, or, you know, if those are things that you're kind of interested in, that's another great opportunity for you to be able to just have all of that right at your fingertips. All right, so the K plan. So this is, again, if you're gonna take away anything, you know, the 2 highlights, again, the location and our K plan. I like to call this an individualized education plan designed specifically for you and really by you. Our president likes to joke and say, you know, we have 1,500 students, we literally have 1,500 different K plans. So my K plan will look a lot different than yours. And the really cool thing is you'll be sitting in the classroom with your friends and you're gonna have like a different K plan than they are. And it's all based on how you interact with each component of your K plan. So as you can see on the slide, it's broken into 4 parts. So it's kind of easy for you to kind of wrap your head around it. You just think about your K plan and it's broken into 4 parts. So the first part is our open flexible curriculum. Our second is hands-on education, or experiential education, some people call it. And then also your international experience, or AKA our study abroad. And then lastly, graduate master's level work that you'll be required to do as a senior. So we'll kind of get into each of these a little bit more. So the open flexible curriculum is something, again, that besides the small class sizes that I was really drawn to. Here at Kalamazoo College, we do not have general education requirements. So we have graduation requirements, but we don't have, and some people might think of it, you might hear it being called, you know, prerequisites, you know, things like that. But so we do not have that here at K. But I'll kind of go through the graduation requirements that we do have. So 1, you have to declare a major. Pretty obvious there on that one. But the cool thing about that is you don't have to declare until the winter term of your sophomore year. So this is really cool, and it works really well for depending on what type of student you are. So let's say you're sitting there and you're like, okay, like I'm not really sure what I want to do yet. Like I'm pretty undecided. I'm pretty open. 1, that's completely normal and okay, and the majority of the students that come to K. The really cool thing about that is without having general education requirements, you really then get to take that whole 1.5 years and explore. You don't kind of have that list of classes that you have to take, so you get to kind of dabble in a lot of different things to kind of find your path. Now, on the flip side, if you are a student that's like, you know, I don't know, I'm really interested in this, I kind of know my path, I know what I want to go into, you get to then come to campus freshman year, you get to jump right into that department. Again, without having general education requirements, you don't have to kind of wait on that. You can jump right in. I will say your academic advisors and people supporting you will encourage you to dabble in other things as well. Even if you want to live and breathe in one department, they will encourage you to dabble in other things. So again, that's the really kind of cool thing about having that open, flexible curriculum. The second graduation requirement we have is you have to be proficient in a world language by the time you graduate. But this could look a couple different ways for you. If you, whatever language you were taking in high school, you could come and take a placement test before classes started your first year, and you could either place completely out, and that requirement would be met, or you would just place into the next level, and you would have to take 1 or 2 classes in that language to fulfill that requirement. But by no means does that mean that you can't learn another language if you wanted to. The other graduation requirement that we have that I think is a little unique to K is our health and wellness requirements. So here at K, we believe really strongly, obviously, in academics. It's a rigorous college, but we believe just as importantly that we want you guys to be happy and healthy and balanced human beings while you're here for 4 years. So you will be required to take 5 health and wellness classes within the 4 years. But the cool thing about the health and wellness is it can take the look of just about anything. The list is very long. So you could be taking a traditional like workout class at the Health and Wellness Center, or you could choose to do a yoga class in downtown Kalamazoo. There's also a rock climbing studio in downtown Kalamazoo if you wanted to do that. There's horseback riding, fencing. So again, the list is long. And by no means are these classes meant to be more work. They're just, again, supposed to be to, get you guys to not always be studying and doing homework, and maybe have you do something that you normally wouldn't do.
Can I ask a question about that, Shannon? Are the health and wellness classes then, are they all something physical, or are there any that are content about health or wellness?
Yes, there are some that are just content about health and wellness too. There was one about mindfulness, where you just learn about the history of that. And yeah, so that's a great question. Yep. Yeah.
I love this requirement. I think it's awesome.
I absolutely, when I was a student here, I did things that I just normally would never have done. Or like, I would have been like, oh, I'm too busy. But when you're kind of forced to do it, you're like, wow, okay, I'm going to try this. So yeah, it's great. The next requirement we have is our seminar courses. So there will be 3. You will take one your freshman year, your sophomore year, and your senior year. What I'll say about the seminar courses is that there are many different topics that you get to choose from. So whatever kind of you find most interesting. I will say the topics are extremely creative every year. But these are extremely writing intensive courses. So you could think about like especially your freshman seminar. That's going to be really honing those college writing skills. So there are a lot of writing. So, I always just say, just get ready for a lot of writing in your seminar courses, but they're a lot of fun because hopefully you get to pick the topic that you're most interested in. So those are a lot of fun. And the professors do an amazing job of really, really making those courses really creative. The last graduation requirement that we have is your senior individualized project. And this was that 4th component of the K plan that I was talking about. So this is that graduate master's level work that every student here at K is required to do. But so once you have met those, you've declared a major, you're proficient in a world language, you have your 5 health and wellness classes, you've taken your 3 seminar courses, and you finish your senior individualized project your senior year, those are the requirements. The rest is up to you. The rest are electives. And so it basically leaves about 50 to 60% of the curriculum up to you as the student, which is nice. The other thing I'd like to stress is sometimes, I think students, you'll get a sense after, as we go through the presentation that K is a very student-driven college. So the students are extremely put in the driver's seat of their 4 years here. We believe, it's extremely important that they play such a key role in how they want the 4 years to go. But with that said, I've never, sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, it sounds like you get here and we're just like, okay, good luck, see you on the other side of 4 years, hope you make it. The level of advising and guidance and support that you get is extremely immense. So just know that you're in the driver's seat, but there will always be people around you supporting you and guiding you along the way. Because sometimes the open flexible curriculum, I think, sounds extremely, again, it was really intriguing to me, but can sometimes seem overwhelming. So again, just know that you're in the driver's seat, but there will be somebody riding with you to help you kind of guide you along the way. So that was the first part of your K plan. The second part is hands-on education. So, or experiential education, if some people call it that. This is really getting you guys outside the classroom. So again, we believe really strongly in academics. We want you to leave with a great transcript, but just as importantly, we want you to leave with a great start to a CV or a resume or something that you want to do after you graduate. So after the 4 years here. So this can take the look of an internship or an externship, civic engagement. Again, kind of going back to that key point of where we're located. Again, being in downtown Kalamazoo, so many opportunities at your fingertips. As well as this is just something that is built into the culture here at K. It will also be built into the coursework. So the cool thing about that is sometimes it takes the legwork out of it for you as the student. You don't have to kind of like think, oh, I have homework, I've got classes and fun activities, and I'm part of student organizations. But gosh, now I have to research and figure out how to go about kind of getting involved in some of these things outside of the classroom. Like I said, some of these are just going to be built into the coursework that you do. So for example, I took a developmental psychology class here at K, and we spent the majority of our time working at an elementary school across the street, working with at-risk youth. So really, again, taking what you're learning in the classroom and kind of making it go beyond and kind of applying it to the real world. You'll be shocked by the end of the 4 years when you're like listing all the things that you did. You're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe I did all that. So the third component of your K plan, our study abroad, something again I really enjoy talking about. This is what we've been doing our study abroad program since like 1966. So we've been doing it for a really long time. Something the college is extremely proud of. We have about 56 programs in 29 countries and 6 continents. But the couple like key factors with our study abroad that I like to highlight, because I think it kind of they're kind of a little bit different. One is the length of time. So these are designed for 1, 2, or 3 terms, which equates to roughly 3, 6, or 9 months. So shortest being 3 months, the longest being 9 months. So these are definitely programs that are meant for you to be able to get extremely immersed in the culture you're in, the program that you're in. But I always like to be transparent with students and say that it's also long enough to get homesick. It's long enough to have some challenges, and that's okay. It was designed that way. It was designed for you guys to have a true experience and really be able to kind of come back and have this kind of life-changing experience. The other thing that I like to highlight with the study abroad is your merit-based scholarship as well as your financial aid will all transfer. So it doesn't really matter. So whatever you're receiving to be here on K's campus, it doesn't matter if you're here on K's campus or if you're in Costa Rica or Japan or India. So that's the nice thing too, is again, that all just transfers. And we also even have, if there's extra costs, so a visa, passport, a backpack even. We also have programs that students can apply for subsidies to help with that. The president of K, Jorge, believes really strongly in making sure that every student here at K, if they choose to, has the opportunity to do study abroad. And over 70% of our students participate. So in a normal year, usually in the fall, 70% of the junior class is gone somewhere around the world. So it's really exciting, and it's always fun to welcome them back in the spring. And then, like I was saying earlier about how all these opportunities that you'll be able to have are built into a 4-year program, so is study abroad. So it doesn't matter if you're pre-med, if you're an athlete, and you even want to go on the extended 9-month study abroad. This is built into your 4 years. So you'll never have to have that kind of conversation with yourself like, oh, I really want to do study abroad, but this might put me back. Like I might have to graduate in 4.5 years or 5 years. You'll never have to worry about that. Every staff and faculty member here on campus, they build their programs with the assumption that every one of their students is going to be gone at some point for study abroad. So everything is just built around. And also this is optional. This is not a requirement. I sometimes get the question if it's a requirement. I think just because we have such a high number of students that participate, sometimes people think it's a requirement.
Is it common for students to do more than one trip?
You're allowed to do one, but this is a great segue into study away, which is another option that you could do study abroad or study away, or you could do both. Okay. So study away is obviously our domestic programs. The couple different things here with the study away is one, it's much shorter. So it's 10 weeks. versus, 3, 6, or 9 months. And these, I would say, are a little bit more interest specific. And I'm not sure if I mentioned study abroad, it doesn't have to be within your major. So you can pick any of the programs and you don't have to be tied down to what your major is. Where study away, same thing, it doesn't have to be in your major, but again, they're a little bit more interest specific and can almost take the look of like a research project or an internship or things like that. So, like the New York Arts program, for example. Obviously, if you're interested in music and, musical and theater and things like that, maybe the New York Arts program might be something that you'd be interested in doing. But you can do both and still graduate in 4 years. I sometimes question, I'm like, how does that happen? But it happens. So you don't ever have to think about it as either or. All right, so your last part of your K plan, the independent research, so that graduate master's level work. We call it our SIP. If you talk to current students or alum, that's kind of how we hyphenated it, our SIP. The things that I like to highlight about the SIP is, one, it doesn't have to be in your major. And two, it doesn't have to look like a traditional research paper. So sometimes I think people hear senior individualized project and they kind of start to just automatically think like senior thesis, it's going to be this long paper. It doesn't have to be. So sometimes the best way to also talk about the SIP is just give examples. So for me, I was a psychology major, and I decided to maybe do what maybe some people might say a little bit more of a traditional route. And I did my SIP in the psychology department. And mine was a long 60-page research paper. But a friend of mine decided, she was in the psychology department as well, but decided that she wanted to do something different. So she did her SIP in the theater department, and she wrote and directed a play based on mental illness. And so that was her SIP. We've had a history major do a flash mob reenactment of the Civil War on the quad, which no one knew about except the student and the advisor, which was amazing and fun. We've had a pre-med student, this project was really cool. She was also very interested in art, and so she took a lot of art classes here while she was at K during her pre-med program, and she decided to do an art exhibit in downtown Kalamazoo, and she did sculptures based on her interpretation of human diseases. So her, project and presentation was the art exhibit. So creativity is sky's the limit with this. And this will most likely happen your senior year during the fall. So you can kind of start to think about your K plan too, broken down into the 4 years that you're here. So the first year, you're a first year student, you're coming in, you're kind of exploring that curriculum and taking a little bit of everything, or you may be the student that wants to jump right into what they want to do. Your second year is where you'll start to really notice that you're getting outside of the classroom, you're taking on, you're getting opportunities for internships and civic engagement and things like that. And then your junior year, if you study abroad, you'll be somewhere around the world, and then you'll come back in your senior year will be focused senior fall on your senior individualized project. And this is a class. So you can also think about your SIP as an independent study because of how much work that will go into it. So it's definitely not something that you're just going to be doing on the side. Any questions or anything before we kind of move on to the nitty gritty?
No, this is great. And I love the visual. I'm a visual learner. So seeing all of the great way that you've queued this up in the visuals is perfect. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So kind of switching to the nitty gritty. So kind of application deadlines, scholarship, financial aid, and application review and all that good stuff. All right, so deadline. So here at K, we do have early action. So that deadline will be November 1st, and you'll hear back by December 20th. I would say that this is a good option if you're the student that's sitting there thinking, I just want to get this off my plate. I want to know before the holidays, I just want to be done. That's a great option for you. But we also have regular decisions. So if you're thinking, well, maybe November 1st sounds a little early, I might need a little bit more time. Nothing wrong with that. You have until January 15th, and you'll hear back by April 1st. I will say this year, though, we will be probably reading a little bit sooner than we would have thought, reading applications. So that April 1st deadline, you might be hearing back before that even. And then lastly, we do have early decision. So this is November 1st or February 1st. You're back by December 1st or February 15th. Early decision is binding though. So this is, you know, I would recommend this if you know 100% your number one choice, just for the fact that let's say you did early decision for K and you got admitted, yay, and then you would be committed to coming here and withdrawing all your applications. So I would say early decision is where majority of the students are, you know, falling between early action or early decision. So kind of what we look for here at K, we look at every application in a holistic manner. So we're looking at you as a whole student. We don't have cutoffs or anything like that. We really, really look at everything. A human being reads everything that you said, which, you know, for me, it's my favorite part of my job. So average GPA, we always debate about taking this off the slide because sometimes it can be intimidating. We're looking for A's and B's. Have there been C's on a transcript before? Yes. It's okay. We're looking at the whole student again. So we're looking at everything in the application. So, you know, we're looking for A's and B's. We're also obviously looking at your curriculum. So we're hoping to see some rigor in that curriculum. We're going to look at specifically what your high school was able to offer you because high schools are so different around the world. And we're hoping that you would have, you know, chose some of those more challenging courses. We'd actually rather see a lower GPA and a little bit higher rigor than a really high GPA and low rigor. To us, it just says, you know, you're willing to take the challenge and take that chance in that challenging course, even if it may mean not getting that A that you're used to. We're also obviously going to be looking at your essay. So we're going to be looking for the quality of writing, of course. So proofread. And the content, you know, I always say, this is, you know, we really just want to hear who you are, and don't write what you think we want to hear. It's really your way to kind of show us who you are. It also, I had a conversation with a student not too long ago, and she was feeling like she didn't have, you know, maybe something really profound to write about. And I said, you know, that's okay. Like life is also in the small moments. It can be funny, you know, again, you can take the essay and be as creative as you want it to be. We're also going to be looking at co-curricular activities. So this is where I would tell you, you know, students, this isn't the time to be humble. This is the time to be, it's okay to brag about yourself. So we're looking for obviously leadership and opportunities that you've had all through high school. But again, it doesn't also have to be something always just related to school. So if you have a job or if you're taking care of a loved one or things like that. So again, you don't be humble at that, on that part. And then recommendation letters. So we are looking for one from a counselor and one from a teacher, but you're obviously more than willing, you know, you're more than welcome to send in more. Our director usually laughs and says, we'll stop reading after about 10 or 15 of them, but we love to hear all the wonderful things people have to say about you. And we are test optional. So we have been test optional since 2015. So I like to say with the test scores, if you're happy with your test scores and you have them, by all means, send them in and look at it like it's another letter of recommendation. If you're not happy with your test scores or you didn't take the test or you just standardized testing is not your thing, by all means, do not send them in. You will not be penalized. So scholarships and financial aid. So we have two, so we'll go through both, merit-based and need-based. So the merit-based, we have what we call the Lux Esto. It means be the light in Latin. And this ranges anywhere between $22,000 and $30,000. And what we're looking at is your GPA, your curriculum, and your essay. And all applicants are looked at for this. So it is your common app. You don't have to do anything special for this. And the cool thing about our Lux Esto is when you get your acceptance letter, you'll know right then and there, you'll also get the amount of your Lux Esto, which is nice. So you kind of know that right away. We also have our Enlightened Leadership Awards. So this is if you play a musical instrument or if you're interested in theater, this is $20,000, $5,000 per year. This is a separate application because there is, you know, you are auditioning and things like that. But the cool thing about this is you don't have to major in music or theater to be awarded this. So I always tell students, hey, if you play a musical instrument and even if you don't want to major in music, apply for this, definitely. And then we have our need-based. So I always tell students and families, fill out the FAFSA. We as an institution have funds based on need, so that won't get triggered for us unless you fill out the FAFSA. So we have grants and scholarships that even if you show $1 of need, that you will be awarded. So definitely fill it out. And 98% of our students receive the Lux Esto merit-based scholarship. Yeah. So again, it's based on your GPA, your curriculum, and your essay. So what I say, especially to students who are going to be applying, so if you're a senior in high school right now, you know, like that essay is all in your hands right now. Your GPA is kind of probably what it is. You know, you've taken your classes, you've already registered for, you know, you've signed up for your classes that you're taking your senior year, but that essay is still in your hands. So really, really take some time with that, because again, that goes into us looking at the amount for your merit-based scholarship. And then, you know, what to do after all of this is just keep connecting with us. We are definitely here to help. I love that I work at an institution that really is focused on just helping you guys find the right fit. So even if that means it's not K, that's okay. We are here to help you find the right fit. And that's what this is about. So I've had students, you know, look at me when I say small class sizes of like 15 with eyes like, oh, and I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. If that's not for you, that is okay. That is what this process is all about, is finding that right fit for you. So, you know, keep contacting with us, whether, you know, via Zoom, text, whatever platform you like, but our door is virtually always open for you guys at any time. So I look forward to hearing from you guys soon.
This was super helpful, Shannon. Thank you. And your team looks so nice and friendly. I love this image of everyone. It makes it seem like, oh, we should connect with all of these folks here, because
well,
so nice.
I will say too in the beginning, it's very much a community, and you will feel that from the minute you, like the admissions office here is actually in an old vintage home that used to be a bed and breakfast. And we really wanted it to be here because we wanted, even when students just came for the very first time to tour campus, wanted it to feel like a home and to feel like you're, you know, we're welcoming you in, you know, to the family here. So
that's a really good first impression. Well, a couple things that you mentioned during your presentation I think are really important to highlight, that maybe some watching might not understand how significant these facts and figures are. You know, when you talk about things like graduation rates, retention rates, I didn't want to interrupt you during that time, but what I wanted to say and add right now is your numbers are great. And I think families should pay more attention to those data points when looking at colleges, because obviously, you know, that years are money, you know, so obviously the longer you're in school, you're continuing to pay for school. So making sure that a college is doing things to retain their students from their first to second year, that's really important. I mean, the transfer rates in the US are so high right now. And then the 4-year graduation rate, like you said, you know, we love you for 4 years, but now get out of my house. You know, I mean, it's like a parent, you know, we're done with you now. But it's good that everyone on campus is working towards that same goal of getting students through, and the K plan obviously is a big factor in that. And I love, you know, the study away piece, the study abroad piece, those are so significant. So I think the profile of the K student, like you said, with a 3.9 on there, I think, you know, just knowing what I know about Kalamazoo, I really, Shannon's not lying when she says that they do a holistic evaluation. They want community members, not just students to come in based on just a couple of numeric pieces. And, you know, the fact that you've been test optional for a couple of years already, students are surprised actually when they hear that colleges were already test optional before COVID. They think it's a new thing. I mean, granted, there are many more schools now, but, you know how to evaluate students based on who they really are. And thank you for what you said about the essay piece and about making it personal and giving you an opportunity to get to know the students in that way, because that's what we're constantly telling our students. You know, the essay is not a 5-paragraph English essay. It's not meant to be, you know, they're not judging whether or not you're going to be the next Hemingway. They're judging to see if you're going to be the next great K student. You know, are you going to be the next great community member here? So thank you for those words, because and I didn't tell her to say that. So it's true. So, well, I'm super appreciative that you took the time to share more about Kalamazoo with us today. And I learned a couple couple things too that I didn't know. So that was great. I thought I knew it all about Kalamazoo, but I did not. So yeah, so anyone, if you're watching this, please be sure to connect with Shannon and her colleagues, if, depending on where you're located in the US or abroad, and, have some time to chat with them virtually. It's, they're great people with lots of good information. So thank you for being so open to that, Jen, and I appreciate it. It was great to see you again.
So good to see you. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
It was a highlight of my day. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.